Inside the last 25 minutes of the SportsMax Zone for this Friday and for the week, footballing stakeholders in Jamaica are lamenting the continued delay in the start of the new season of the rebranded Jamaica Premier Football League. Stories have been published by various media outlets in recent days, highlighting the plight of players and coaches who've been unable to earn following the suspension of the Red Stripe Premier League in March last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, these stories of hardship have resonated with Jamaicans who've been calling on the government to state its position on the resumption of the most popular sport by participation in the country. The Jamaica Observer newspaper reported Friday that the Minister of Sport, Olivia Grange, has denied a report that the government rejected the latest proposal from Professional Football Jamaica Limited to play the new season of the Premier League as critical stakeholders. Us here at SportsMax have an interest in the competition being held. That said, we are keen for the requisite safety measures to be in place before the players can take the field. For more reaction to the continued delays to the start of competition that was mooted for November 2020, we are turning to head coach of Premier League outfit Vere United, Donovan Duckie. Well, Donovan, as we said, there was a projection to start in November. That was moved to December. Then there was hope that they would start in January. Then further hope that they would start in February. No, we are thinking March, but we haven't heard anything yet. What say you on this story?
Well, let me say a special good evening to you. As always, Genius, and a special good evening to your listeners also. Well, definitely it's a big setback for us. And when I say for us, especially the players, we have to first look at the economical impact that COVID-19 has created for these players. And coaches by extension and administrators, even the persons who normally have their stalls set up, the Premier League, it creates jobs for a lot of people. So it's an industry that feeds over, say, 700 people for the year at the professional level. And not only the economical impact we have to look at, but the socio-economical impact. Because the environment which these players live in, the educational background of these players. And we also have to be very careful because these players are the popular ones in the community. And the best players are from inner city areas. And the inner city community, we understand crime and violence. And when football is playing, crime and violence is always at its lowest level in inner cities. And these players are very influential and they're looked upon by a lot of these youngsters. And it's very difficult for them now to survive. There's no job. And this is the only thing they can resort to. Their livelihood has been taken away. So it's a difficult time for all these players. It's a difficult time for coaches, administrators. And it would be nice to see a resumption.
Yeah, we hear you, Donovan, and there is huge respect and sympathy for the persons in the society at the moment whose livelihood is being significantly affected by COVID-19 restrictions. But if you look from the standpoint of the authorities, in this case, the government and the ministry, and in the case of football, the Jamaica Football Federation and its arms, there has to be respect as far as the risk factor is concerned. How convinced are you that the football authorities are putting a strong enough case forward to the government and the health officials that, they have things covered and can safely return?
Well, first of all, the GFF is doing their best. And previous media houses have said that if Captain was around and if Edward Siaga, the Honorable, was around, I think there would be football.
Why do you say that?
My reason for saying that is these two persons has produced stronger leadership than what we are seeing now in the circle. And there would be a more stronger case put forward. And look, there are evidence to show that. There are evidence and there are not evidence to show that football can be played. There's no data to show that football has spiked coronaviruses. No data to show that. if you look at worldwide trends, it's one of the most safest environment to open up the sporting discipline right now because look, if you look around Jamaica, sports is been played. There's a lot of corner leagues. We're shutting down these corner leagues. Everywhere is corner league. Everywhere is cricket. All the sporting disciplines are out in the community. But if you look at football at the Premier League level, there will be better control. The government specifications that they would allot to us, the rules, the social distancing, the checking of I'm sorry, 1 second. The checking of the test and all those different aspects of what the requirements are would be very significant, and we would be in a more controlled environment.
Yeah.
It would be wise for us to return. The signs are clear that we can return. As I said, I'm reinforcing that.
Yeah.
There's no data.
Donovan, though, tell me something, though.
The government should just give us the protocol for us to move forward.
Tell me something.
Because I'm sure that we can move forward in a controlled environment.
Tell me something, Donovan. From the perspective of your individual players, there was a period when they were training and maybe getting half pay or getting full pay. We know that for the entirety of the period that football has been out, they haven't been paid for all that period. How are they managing? Give us some of the real stories that you've been hearing from these players.
Well, even before I came on this call, even myself, as an example, I rely on the football season to survive. My eldest son is going to school abroad, and I'm a single parent. So how do I find the funds for him to survive throughout the year? Now we have to be racking back on family members. And these are the stories, that everyday stories of the players, especially, as I said before, players from the inner city that are very influential. And these players, we have to face up to the reality. These players, the environment that they're in, it's easier to turn to crime. They're uneducated. The only thing they look at is football. And so we have to be on the phone constantly with them, reassuring them that, listen, positive will be out of this. There's a few players that I know personally, I'm very personal friends with, that they are married, they have 3-4 kids, they cannot feed their kids. The situation at the house is causing peer problems now because they have created a number of numerous burdens on the families. So the players are finding it difficult. Even most recently, you saw where Nikolai Finlayson was speaking out. Many of these players, I have to be doing a lot of counseling work with them. So it is very difficult for them. They can't find food to put on their table. They have to. Some of them have gone back to their parents' house, and their girlfriend has gone back to their parents' house. And these are some of the situations and the challenges that the players are faced with.
At Vere, Donovan, when was the last time your players were able to take home a paycheck?
Well, first of all, it's important to also say big respect to the cousins. They have done exceptionally well under the circumstances. There is no paycheck. There's a stipend that is being paid, and it is burdening the clubs because they are not earning. There's no games. There's no revenue from the gate. I'm not sure if the sponsorship money are paid over because there's no league as yet. But a stipend was paid. It's very difficult for the clubs to be continuing. So it's very difficult at Vere. The players are there. We're training, but training virtually for months. So we are not really on field.
Yes.
We have a group, and training sessions are issued in the group, and it has been followed. But it's very difficult in terms of to acquire salary right now.
At Vere, have you had to, given the difficulties that, and I applaud you for recognizing the owners, the people running the club, and how creative they have been to keep the doors open partially. Has there been any member of staff, backroom staff, because we see the coach or we see the players, but it takes a lot more to get a football team ready and able to play games every week. Is there anybody that you've had to lay off for the time being because of how tight things are at Vere?
Well, what I can tell you at Vere is Vere United is like a family. The groundsman, they are there. The people who take care of the facility, the auxiliary workers, the management staff. You know, everybody is there. Sometimes, from time to time, we have meeting on Zooms. 3 days ago, everyone was on the Zoom meeting with an MLS coach from Philadelphia Union. And, you know, a lot of the workers are there. They're not being paid because there's no league that is running. I am not being paid. The players are not being paid. Everybody is just on edge and they're preparing themselves in case we get the go ahead. But as I said before, we have gotten stipends to the club. But in terms of having a full staff, we don't have a full complement because we're not up and running. So it is very difficult at this time. Two
quick things before we go, Donovan. I know you say you haven't gotten a salary, you've been getting a stipend, but just one thing on that before, and another small thing. You've been getting that stipend, you and your staff, and of course the players. When was the last time you got a full salary? We're in February now. When was the last time Donovan Duckie collected his full salary?
No, we have never gotten a full salary. We have never gotten a full salary. Players nor staff.
Not since March last year?
No, we have never gotten a full salary.
If you could speak directly, and perhaps you can now, to the powers that be, the Ministry of Sport, which you understand is doing their bit, Ministry of Health and Wellness, Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, and the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management. You have 30 seconds now, Donovan Duckie, to make a direct appeal to these ladies and gentlemen who have control of the stamp, the rubber stamp, that approval letter for the football to go along.
Well, what I can say to the ministry is take into consideration that 90% of these players who play in the Premier League are from inner cities. And crime and violence is also a part of it, that there's a big influence around them. And they are the ones that keep the inner city communities happy. The inner city people, they are looking forward to see football play. It's very difficult on us as parents. It's very difficult on me as a coach and my other fellow co-workers also. Very difficult on the players. Even in my situation, my son is finding it difficult abroad to survive in college. We have no income, our livelihood has been taken away. There's no data to support that football is spiking Corona. Football is playing everywhere. Corner leagues are playing, competitive football in corner league areas are playing. Give us a protocol and the guidelines for us to follow. We are ready to follow it. We are ready to adhere to the rules, and we can create a safe environment for this to work, and we can return to our livelihood.
Donovan Duckie, thank you very much. We look forward to the time when we'll have the pleasure of doing hearing an articulate post-match interview from you again. Thank you very much, Donovan. All the best.
Thank you very much.
Good. Donovan Duckie, he is well-traveled. He is the coach of Vere United, laying bare the difficulties faced by players. It is a serious thing. As stakeholders, we have to make it clear we're not saying rush football back at all costs, because we know that there is a bigger picture. But we believe that with the protocols in place, the people involved in the football are intelligent enough to adhere to these protocols. We think it can happen. Bring back the love, bring back the game, is what we're saying.